Hey, it's Tom for GAK, and I'm checking out two of the brand new for 2021 68 reissue amps from Fender. So Fender have just announced their two brand new amplifiers for their 68 reissue line. We've got one of the Vibro reverbs, and we've also got a Pro Reverb as well. They both feature that silver face sort of vibe that you get with that 68 reissue. Previously, we've had things like the Princeton, which we use quite constantly here, really, because it's just such a good amp. It's really nice to see some more additions to the line. The first amp we're going to start with is the Pro Reverb amp that I have in front of me. If you're not familiar with the history of the Pro Reverb and why they've decided to reissue it, it's essentially one of those amps that was, it's a classic Fender tone. It's highly desired for its great clean sound and its headroom, but also its ability to get really dirty when you push it a little bit, particularly when you're cranking the volume on it. Fender have tweaked a few design elements on this just to make it a little bit more in line with modern playability. Like, for instance, the original used to have two 12-inch speakers. They've now opted for one, just to make it a little bit easier, which also means that the overall weight of the amp has been brought down quite significantly. Some other modifications that they've added are the addition of a middle EQ knob. So the original didn't used to have that, sort of like the Princeton and the Vibro, they just had a treble and bass. Now you have control of your mids, which is really, really useful, particularly if you're in a recording environment. So the original used to have two channels. This just has one. And you still have the two inputs on the front. One of them is a -6 dB input, so it means that your guitar will be slightly quieter, which means you can drive the amp harder and those tubes a little bit harder, and that's where you'd use that. So the 68 Custom Pro Reverb has two 6L6 tubes in the back as their power section, so you're going to get some of that classic 6L6 Fender-y sort of sound. It's got three 12AX7 preamp tubes and one 12AT7, which means that you're going to be able to get that plethora of really nice Fender boutique sounds. It's a 40-watt amp. We've got a 12-inch neodymium creamback Celestion speaker in there, which is just going to give you those really nice creamback tones as opposed to like a V30 or something like that. It's a bit more in line with what Fender want. The amp has a built-in vibrato circuit, which is a tremolo that Fender have had on many of their amps, which means that you're going to be able to get some of those great tremolo-y, vibrato-y sounds that you might have heard over the years from like classic records. It sounds great, and it's really, really easy to dial in. In addition to the vibrato, we also have some reverb built in, so it goes from a really, really nice, absolute clean, if you wanted to add your own reverb in afterwards, maybe in post, to just a big fat sort of massive reverb, which is huge and really, really well complemented with the Fender sound. The amp also features a bright switch on the front here, and that's going to enable you to cut some of those low mids a little bit more. It's going to push the top end. You're going to get some really nice transients out of it. So keep an ear out for that when I'm flicking that up and down. In addition to all those features, the Pro Reverb is also a great pedal platform. I've decided to demo this with my trusty Thom Deluxe, which is a clon style overdrive. It sounds really great. It's pushing a lot of those mids forward, and you just get some of that really nice clon overdrive. Particularly with this, we're getting some fantastic tones, and you'll definitely be able to hear that. So the second amp we're going to be checking out is the 68 reissue Vibro Reverb. This is obviously a lot smaller than the Pro Reverb. You're getting some of those classic Vibro sounds, because obviously it's a reissue, you're going to get classic sounds. It's a 5-watt amp, which means that you can crank it at home. It's going to be able to get way higher up on that volume dial, and you're going to be able to really break it up a little bit more. So the original Vibro was known for its like tube sparkle, its ability to drive, and its really great vibrato circuit, which is why it's called the Vibro This particular model features all of those silver face appointments that they added in 1968, I think. And so you're getting a lot of the similar aesthetic vibes that you would expect from like a classic Fender. In terms of what we've actually got going on, like I said, it's a 5-watt amp, which means that this volume is ways to be cranked. We've got 2 inputs just like the Pro Reverb. The second input is again that -6 dB input, which means that you're going to be able to push that preamp just a little bit harder to push it into breakup. We have a built-in reverb circuit as well, which is a hall reverb which Fender have added, which is a really nice addition, which means you're going to be able to get some great tones, particularly just in this small amp. You're going to be able to get all of those really nice reverbs. Just like the Pro Reverb, we have a built-in vibrato circuit, so we've got speed and intensity, which is enabling you to get some of those classic Fender oscillating tremolo sounds. It's just fantastic. It does the Vibro champ thing really well, at least to my ear, and it just brings the whole thing to life, particularly because it's quite a small amp. So some differences from the original. Instead of having an 8-inch speaker like the original Vibro champs used to have, this now has a 10-inch speaker, which means you're going to be getting some more low end from it. It's going to mean that some of those cleans are just that extra, you just have that extra bit of depth for them. And then particularly when you're, if you decided to run some pedals into it, or you wanted to get some like breakup tones, you're going to be able to get some of those tones a little bit easier because that low end response is going to be there now because you have a different speaker attached. The amp features one 6L6 tube in its power section. That's going to be that classic Fender sound. And we've got two 12AX7A preamp tubes in there. So you're getting a lot of those classic Fender sounds. So those were the 68 reissue amps from Fender. I think they're great. Honestly, I really think they're great. We've been using the Princeton Reverb in here for a long time, and that's been one of my favorite things. The Pro Reverb has got possibly one of the nicest cleans I've ever heard. And I think it's on my list of amps to accumulate and have, because it has genuinely blown me away so much. The Vibro champ, again, sounds like an original Vibro champ, and you're getting so many of those classic Fender tones, particularly if you're looking for those things. And in addition, because it's that bit lighter, it's going to be easier to gig, it's going to be easier to practice with. These things are great. They're really faithful recreations, I think, and they sound amazing, and you should definitely check one out. Let us know what you think in the comments, though. How do you think they compare to the originals? Leave us a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to see more things like this, and we'll see you in the future.